Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Pregame. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. Charlie's going to be around at some point. I don't know. Who's to say with Charlie? You got to keep an eye on that guy at all times.
He's big time.
He wanders. Yeah. You know, he's a wanderer. But tonight, this pregame show is presented by our friends at Coors Light. When you choose to chill, choose Coors Light. I have a feeling we're going to need to chill during this game a few times.
I don't like that attitude.
Boston has kind of owned the Flyers. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But the first thing to talk about tonight, the return of John Tortorella. He's back, baby, and his lineup sure shows it.
I was going to say, if you forgot that today was the day he was coming back, as soon as you saw the lines, you knew.
Listen, I don't know if, if Bobby Brink doesn't play, obviously they're going to lose. Like, Boston's going to kick their ass probably either way because they always do. Listen.
But you don't say it.
I just got to be honest. It's just like, I wanted to play this clip, but I don't think we're allowed to. From
legal reasons.
From Tortorella's media availability today. Hinkle, where he's talking about how he's excited to get to see the guys in these games, that they worked all year to get to this point, and they now want to play these meaningful games. Cool. Yeah, that's what we all want. Yeah. If this rebuild is going to work the way they're doing it, I get that that's okay, we're going to put you in meaningful situations, see how you do. Why aren't we going to just see how a guy who's going to be here when they're good is going to do in Bobby Brink, rather than Cam Atkinson, who not only isn't going to be here because he's old, he stinks right now.
That's the real point.
Right at this very moment, there is no difference between those two players. Even if you think the worst of Bobby Brink, there's no difference between him and Cam Atkinson. If someone's going to give me nothing, I want it to be the guy who might one day give me something. Not saying he will or won't, but he might. And Cam Atkinson definitely won't, and he's also not giving you shit right now. It's been 20 games since he's recorded a point. A point. And
if the lines that we saw at morning skate today are the lines, we're looking at Nick Deslauriers, Sean Couturier, Cam Atkinson.
That's a whole lot of nothing. And I said on the last post game, you were here for it, I am willing to give Sean Couturier the pass. He hasn't played a full season in a long, long time. This is kind of a figure-it-out year for him, get back into the swing of things. But, you have him doing whatever struggles he's going through.
Right.
Charlie would argue that he's not been as bad as maybe the scoring numbers, but in calendar year 2024, he has scored 2 goals. That's not enough.
It's not good.
That's not good. No. He's got 12 points, I think, since the calendar flipped. That's bad. Nick Deslauriers, who he plays a role.
I can't even get mad at him.
No.
He is what he is. Yeah. It's not his fault.
No.
He did not ask to be placed onto the second line with Sean Couturier.
And then Cam Atkinson, who the last time he recorded a point, I'm pretty sure Barack Obama was still the president. I'm just bringing up his game logs. He has not recorded a point since January 23rd. Yeah. It has been a considerable amount of time for him. Not an assist.
Yeah.
We joked around about Eric Johnson having no assists when the Flyers traded for him, and you'd think he'd tap the puck to someone.
One time,
a 15-game span, he didn't one time clear the puck up and it hit someone in the skate and they went on a break. No, not once. Not once. That's Tortorella. It's hard to argue with his process because he's here because of his biases. They want him imparting whatever his wisdom, whatever his process is onto these guys. But this one thing in particular is annoying.
It's incredibly annoying. And also it's one of those things where periodically this seems to pop up with Tortorella. Now, obviously this is one of those things that we're not going to know until after this game is played. But looking at this lineup, thinking about the Boston Bruins, I'm not, in my eyes, seeing a lineup optimized for beating the Boston Bruins on Boston Bruins ice. We're talking about meaningful games. We're also talking about getting guys that are going to be here for the long term settled into playing in these kinds of important games. But we're also talking about icing the best players in the organization. And we're doing neither of those things tonight. Not optimally.
Like Bobby Brink has a chance to pot you a goal every now and then. Like, even if you think he's playing like shit right now. And honestly, no, he hasn't popped in his ice time.
No.
But
Cam Atkinson's not going to.
There's a possibility he scores. Cam Atkinson, there is none.
I mean, prove me wrong. That'll be great. I hope this is one of those times where I hope that
he's going to score 3 tonight.
We get to come on and be like, wow, we're so stupid. We don't know anything about hockey.
There's not a doubt in my mind that he scores the overtime winner tonight.
I'll take it.
It's absolutely going to happen because we're saying he has no chance to score. It's just in this particular thing, and we've bitched about lineups for years, Kelly. The optimal line, I mean, Chris Van de Velde playing 81 straight games and being scratched on the final day of the season, to me, is one of the funniest things that has ever happened.
It will never not be funny.
It's the ultimate troll. So you can't even say Hackstall played him every game that year because he didn't. He sat him on day 82, which is the funniest shit that's ever happened. Like, we've been doing this a while, bitching about this team.
Yeah.
But, like, this now seems to be like a differentiation from the plan, a deviation from that's the word I was like.
Yes.
If the plan is to, okay, we're not going to tank, we're not going to tear it down, we're going to put the players we have in a situation for them to grow. Mm-hmm. How is that what's happening right now? Like, you can't possibly explain to me a way for this to make sense.
I was talking earlier this afternoon about, like, okay, so John Tortorella, as we all know, has an expiration date. The expiration date that he's going to have with this team and this organization is obviously going to be different from anyone that he's had before, because it's very clear that he's just going to work for the Flyers until he decides he's not working anymore. Will he be coaching? No, but he's not getting fired.
Unless there is some major situation, like a blow up of massive proportions or something insane like that. He's going to, like, every indication is this dude is here for the long haul.
But eventually his bullshit runs real thin, both, I think, with fan bases and with teams. And I think in this particular situation, it's going to get thin for, like, us and for fans well before the organization decides they've had enough of his bullshit. And I feel like these little things are kind of just like the start of John Tortorella being back on his bullshit. Like, there's no reason why you had to take Bobby Brink out of the lineup.
No.
Like, did Bobby Brink do anything so egregious in the last 2 games that he deserved to be pulled from the lineup? Not really. Like, was he good? No. Was he like the reason for any of the bad shit that happened? Not really. Not any more than anybody else. And those horrendous games that we've been watching. But it's just frustrating because, like you said, part of the excitement of this little stretch run is seeing how the young guys do. I don't really give a fuck about how Cam Atkinson plays in these games.
In fact,
it matters not one bit to me.
Yeah, like when he scores, I'm going, thanks now. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, this does nothing for me. Because
when he gets like 1 goal when it's 5-0 Boston in the 3rd period or something.
It's just like, well, why did you trade Sean? Like, if it's about the future, why aren't we planning? And I know, like, we've kind of been on board with the plan, so maybe it sounds a little hypocritical, but I thought they've made a lot of decisions for most of the year that at least they could explain, even if I disagree. I always say, like, I don't have to agree with you. I just need to see your thought process. Mm-hmm. And I see the Flyers' thought process. I'm like, okay, we'll see how this plan goes. This is like, well, what about that plan we have? I don't see how Cam Atkinson makes you any more competitive than Bobby Brink, a dude who has not registered a single point. And he's been scratched a couple times. It's been more than 15 team games. It's been almost 2 months since he scored at all. A secondary assist, like anything. No, but that's that. I want to move on to the goaltending, which was a huge topic of conversation for us on the Thursday post-game Hinkle. And it's gonna keep being a topic of conversation. Sam Ersson has been pretty damn good through much of the year. In his last 6 starts, though, 3 of them, he has a save percentage in the 700s.
Oh no!
That's real bad. Overall, he's 2-3-1 with an .879 save percentage over his last 6. Now, there's some pretty good ones in there, like the St. Louis game. He lets in one, they lose in a shootout.
Yeah.
What was it? The San Jose game. He won them that game, honestly, with the breakaway save in the third period. He doesn't stop that, they lose. Not a question in my mind. But this is legitimately almost every other night now, and that you can't have 3 out of 6 be 700s.
No, you can't.
Like 850, 865 is the really bad start stat on hockeyreference.com that I just love that there's a stat called really bad starts. So I reference it a lot, but that's 120 points. Like we're talking 762, 733, 750. We're talking 100 plus points below really bad. He has to bounce back in a big way tonight.
I thought Sandstrom was starting tonight.
Is he in tonight?
I thought he was. I could be wrong.
I thought I saw Ersson.
Who can say?
Oh man! All right, let us know in the comments if you saw who was in net tonight. If it's Sandstrom or Ersson, and that's an interesting conversation.
It's kind of rude of me to argue with you when you were probably right.
No, listen. If you saw that, I was driving here while that was probably announced. So. That would be really interesting for Felix Sandstrom to get his second start of the season in the NHL against a Boston team that has just absolutely dominated the Flyers over the last few years. That is, if it is Sandstrom is starting. That's what I just saw in the comments there. Thank you. So that's okay. That changes the conversation then. Felix Sandstrom in net. Second start of the year for the former future Henrik Lundqvist.
It kind of makes it worse.
That, it's damning in that they're telling us, oh, yeah, we've been using him a lot, but we think he's okay. It's he needs a night. And I get it. It's just during this stretch, he really needed to play almost every game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Felix Sandstrom, 27 years old at this point, start number 2 on the year. He's not part of the future plans here, probably. Now, listen, he could be the next Alex Lyon. Who the hell knows? But all the goalies in the pipeline coming, I want to know how Ersson's going to do. And I'm not disagreeing with it. Ersson's been horrible lately.
Yeah.
So he does need the night off. He probably needs a rest.
Yeah.
This does not give them a great opportunity to win this game, though.
It's just along with some of the other lineup decisions, feels like another one of those situations where at the end of the game, you're talking about why did we not put ourselves in the best position to win this game? Now, again, this is kind of what's fun about talking about sports with your pals. You don't really know what's going to happen, and people like to pretend that they can talk and have these conversations and know precisely what's going to happen, but nobody does. Felix Sandstrom could go out there and shut out the Boston Bruins. 100% could happen.
Yeah, crazy shit happens all
the time. So, maybe it will. I mean, Felix Sandstrom has played some good games in the NHL.
He's got 24 career starts.
He's not Cal Peterson.
It's not like he's some new,
right.
Yes, he hasn't played much this year in the NHL, but he started 18 games for them last year.
Yeah. There were a couple that were all right.
Yeah, he's capable of throwing a good game together. He's very athletic. He did, I think, and Tortorella said this in his media availability today, steadied them in the second period, he thought.
Yes.
And that is totally true. That game went from out of control to at least, okay, we have a chance in the third. Now, the chance went away immediately when the third period began. But it was in part due to Felix Sandstrom kind of coming in and being
Yeah. And we don't really know, so we've talked a lot about how Ersson seems to kind of either have it or not. And the last few games, he's very clearly not had it. You can see immediately when this guy is just not on his game.
And that does weigh on a team.
And I wonder, if they've decided, because goalies are, maybe he just needs a second to reset because he's in his own head too much and he's got to get his shit together. And so they're you know what? Is it great that we have to start Sandstrom against the Bruins? Not great, but we need Ersson to get his shit right. And so he's got to take a seat.
And we're going to need him for the whole rest of the month.
Right.
We're going to need him.
The long term is more important.
Until April 16th and hopefully beyond, we're going to need Sam Ersson. Right. This isn't I don't want to put this in the same regard as like the Cam Atkinson situation.
Nah, it's different.
Because like Sam, like this, I do see how this benefits Ersson.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he needs a day, man.
Yeah.
He's been getting his ass kicked lately. He's clearly struggling with confidence or something.
Right.
Whatever is the matter that allows him to like just totally miss pucks that are coming for him. Like, it's not exactly snipes that are getting by him right now.
Right. And so, and if you put him in against a team that has just been whipping the Flyers' ass for the last several years consistently, it might be for the best that we kind of, if this is going to be a shelling, we let Sandstrom get shelled and not Ersson, because maybe his, ego can't handle it.
I want to get to some of that now before we look at the standings. The recent history of
I don't really like it.
Flyers Bruins, and it's real bad.
Not good.
Last 15 games, Flyers are 3-10-2. Flyers haven't won in Boston since April 5th, 2021.
Oh boy.
2021. That's the season where they played
fake season.
The season where
Bubble?
Yeah, they played 8 times against the Bruins. I think they won 2 of them that year. That was one of them, April 5th. Bruins have won 6 straight games against the Flyers. Last time they won it all was October 20th, 2021 against Boston. It has been a freaking shellacking, and we even have, like, you look at some of the scores to these games. Yeah, a lot of them not particularly close.
Yeah.
There's like 2 overtime games, 3 in there. Like
7-3.
A lot
That's
of 7-3, 6-3, 6-1, 6-0, 5. Like, it has been a straight up ass kicking at the hands of Boston.
This year is real bad.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this calendar year, it's gone poorly. The last couple of seasons, like it's not good at all, really.
Yeah,
and thank you for that graphic, Bryn. I appreciate you putting that together. I'm sure that was fun to look at. Like it's been ugly against, and that's the thing now with this team. Like, we know about the blue line being depleted. Now, Felix Sandstrom, the at best number 3 goalie coming into the season, number 4 maybe, like in net. Getting out of this stretch, I was like, if they can go like 3-2-2 in this stretch of 7 games, like that would be pretty impressive. They're starting 0-2 in my mind.
Yeah. Although, like, this is kind of like precisely the kind of stupid hockey game that ends up with the Flyers winning like 3-2 or something stupid like that, because it's the best game ever. That said, it's hard not to head into this one thinking like, can we just not let them score a touchdown? Maybe?
I was hopeful going into that Toronto game because
so was I.
Because they played Toronto really, really well last time. That was not the case. You got your ass kicked. Sometimes that happens. Tortorella said, like, I actually think we played more good minutes than people are giving us credit for. It's just like shit went wrong when it went wrong. And he was like, I just went through the film. And listen, if the puck wasn't in the back of the net, we wouldn't be showing this clip in the film room. Nothing went wrong except the goalie didn't make the stop. And
if ifs and buts, John Tortorella.
But it's just like,
candies and nuts.
They played okay in that one, maybe better than the score. I'll take his word for it.
Sure.
But like, they don't play well against Boston.
Not really, hardly ever.
It's a consistent ass kicking. And we'll get to that when I go over my bets. But I want to take a look at the standings now. It's getting tight, and there's a bunch of teams that are all of a sudden kind of finding themselves in this thing.
Everyone's losing, though, Bill. It's the most hilarious playoff race I've ever seen in my life. It really is. No,
Detroit looked like they got their shit together. Then they lost like 6 or 7 in a row.
The Islanders
they lost to Buffalo. I think they lost again today in overtime.
Yes.
Buffalo kind of working their way back in it. The thing that's maybe working against them, they have more games played than anybody. Yeah. So, you have the 69 points. That's pretty nice. You're right there with everyone else. But actually, you have 3-4 more games played than some of these teams. But this thing is going to be tight. I guess Tampa Bay, we should probably they're going to do it. Like, they're going to get in.
Yeah. It's hard not to expect that they're just going to stick into that wild card spot right there.
But everybody else, man, it is very like Washington. They in my mind, they stink. But somehow they've won 31 games. Like, they're in it.
It's just like a bunch of just like dudes with like one leg and a broken arm limping towards the finish line.
No, this is like guys with crutches hitting each other.
Yeah.
Like it's like
the weirdest playoff race I've ever seen. Like normally it's just a bunch of teams coming on hot and seeing who can win the most games. This is just like who's going to lose the least on the way to the playoffs.
It really seems that way. And like the Flyers, just to keep their heads above water would be so freaking nice.
Seriously.
And
they just got to win some games.
It's just like this stretch.
It sucks.
It's so rough.
Sucks.
Like, of course they have to be like at this time of the year with the standings this tight. It's like, yeah, and now you're going to play a bunch of teams who might win their division.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're looking at now. It's, oh, yeah, Boston and Toronto and Florida and the league. Like, it just the Canes are in there. It's like, it is just a rough stretch right now. And
it's never easy.
We are going to learn about some of these guys, and they are going to learn what it's like to basically be in this playoff atmosphere, meaningful games. A lot of them haven't been in it. They haven't been in it in a few years. Mm-hmm. That's all well and good. Like, I'm happy that we're getting that, but it gets back to the earlier conversation. I wish there was another guy or two getting to learn these lessons up close. All right. Before we go any further, I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor for today, where I'm sitting here drinking an ice-cold Coors Light. It is time to chill. We're going to have to chill during this game at some point. This team, Kelly, like I said, we've been doing this a while, and if there's one thing I can say, it's that this team, they drive us nuts. They get us fired up.
Ever.
And that's why sometimes I just need to chill. And there's no better way to chill than with an ice-cold Coors Light. So whether you're freaking out about, maybe you're hosting a show and you don't know who the starting goalie is for your team. Or maybe some injuries on the blue line, or some old guys playing over young guys. Whatever it might be, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies. Because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, man, you just got to chill.
Yeah.
When you choose to rise above it all, choose chill, choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Chill, baby.
Taste those Rockies, baby.
Tap the Rockies. I wish they still used that. It was a great talking point. I want to get to some of my bets before we wrap up tonight's show. Like I said, the Bruins have been thoroughly kicking the Flyers' ass for the better part of 3 years. It's funny, like, it really turned in that 1920 season. They beat them 3 out of 4, I think, including the game in the bubble of the playoffs in that 1920 when they came back in that little
pre-tournament.
Yeah,
thing,
pre-tournament tournament. Before the shutdown, the last game was a loss to the Bruins, but they beat them in the 2 others, and they beat them in the bubble. And since then, 3-10-2. And a lot of the games not particularly close. So for my bets tonight, there's going to be a bit of a running theme here. We're going to start with the Bruins team total. I'm not going to go nuts here, but over 3.5 is even money, plus 100. I'm going to take the Bruins to score 4 goals. Team total over 3.5 is my first bet. Now, a dude who has basically been the catalyst for said ass kickings, David Pastrnak.
I was going to say, I'm assuming you bet your entire house on him scoring a goal.
Okay. I mean, like, the Flyers are down 2-0 tonight because he has 2 goals. Like, it's already happened. We just have to watch it. So Pastrnak to score -110 on, like, when you bet goal scorers, usually you want plus money. You want a good price. You're throwing darts. It's hockey. This seems like a foregone conclusion. If I could have bet him to score 2 or 3, I would have. Didn't see it. So Pastrnak to score -110, and Pasta over 1.5 points. Plus 145. I feel like that's one of the best bets on the board.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to have a goal and an assist. He has 26 career goals in 29 games against the Flyers. 42 points, I believe, in his career in 29 games. He kills them.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with that. And just to have something on the Flyers, Tyson Forster, he scores the shorthanded goal to make it 6-2 the other night against the Leafs.
He's been looking
He
good.
tends to score in bunches. Well, he got one last game. I'm going to bet him to score again at plus 275. And those are Bill's bets for this Coors Light pregame. Kelly, how are you feeling? Like, how are you feeling about the game? Not great, Bob.
They're going to win, Bill.
Yeah, like, is it going to be, if they were to win this game, how does it happen? And that is
a lot of lucky bounces and Felix Sandstrom playing the game of his life is the way that they win this game.
Is tonight the night we finally see future Lundqvist?
Tonight's the night that we get our Alex line to take us to the playoffs.
Anything's possible. Felix, I mean, I just want to be able to call him Felix the Cat. Yeah. I think that would be fun.
It is fun.
So, like, it would be nice. It would be really cool if he showed up big tonight. He's a guy who's been around for seemingly so long. Like, man, remember Jonesy when we had him at the 2017 draft? We were talking about Felix Sandstrom that night.
Oh, like, God.
He's been around for freaking ever, man. You know?
Good Lord.
He has been in this organization a long time, so I would like to see him have at least like a signature moment, like a win tonight. That would be really cool. Listen, I am betting on the Bruins, but that's because I need to make some money. I would love to lose all these bets, except for the Tyson Forster one.
I'm rooting for it, Bill.
Like, it would make me very happy to lose these bets because that means the Flyers, maybe they showed up and won tonight. Maybe John Tortorella being back, maybe that could be the catalyst. Like, John Tortorella's back. We don't want to get yelled at.
Stranger things have happened.
They certainly have. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that, and you're going to have to stay tuned right here to our YouTube page. Because don't go anywhere. We're not. We're going to do a watch along for this game. That's right.
Manning cast.
Me and Kelly and Coors Light and maybe Charlie at some point. Who's to say? Is he here? Like, has he walked in? We don't know. No one's seen Charlie. We should probably call someone about that.
Charles Connor? I don't know. Is he in Florida again?
Is he? Oh,
is
he's
he on
stuck
an airplane?
In Florida. It's manifest.
I was going to say he's stuck in time. Again.
So make sure you stay tuned right here. Thank you to our friends at Coors Light for bringing you this little pregame show. My name is Bill Matz for Kelly Hinkle. Join us for the watch along.
All city like the mayor.